Hi, we're the CANA girls, and today we're going to be talking about stereotypes and misconceptions about Black women. So if you enjoy this podcast, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Stereotypes and misconceptions of Black women, of Black females. So have you got any experiences of being stereotyped?
I've had a few stereotypical moments in my life. Just references to hair, food, culture-wise, and there's just things like that's affected me, whether they're negative or positive. And I think because they see people do certain things, it's like, oh, do you do that too? It's like a thing. And
so in regards to hair, what stereotype have you had about your hair?
I think when I was younger, when I was at school, a lot of people, like black people, black girls anyway, used to wear quite a lot of braids. So that stereotypical was literally like, oh, did you have your hair down? Oh, is it burnt at the ends? And things like that. So that's just a stereotypical thing, that black, but it shouldn't be played on as that. That is just, it's a celebratory of my culture. Just because it's something that you're not used to, it's not. I don't want you to take the fun of that. Looking back at it.
Yeah, in terms of stereotypes of Black women, I really hate the strong, independent Black woman stereotype. I know it originally was intended to uplift because of the unfortunate situation that a lot of Black women found themselves being in, but I find it really patronising. And I feel like calling someone a strong, independent Black woman, it's suggesting that Black women don't have feelings or are not allowed to be weak or not allowed to cry. And that promotes poor treatment of Black women, I think. So if you're calling someone strong and independent, then you're not looking out for them, you're not caring about them and what they're going through. So I actually find that stereotype really harmful. And it affects the way people actually treat you and perceive you. So I really hate that one.
For me, the stereotype that I absolutely hate about that people put on Black women especially is the angry Black woman. So if you're passionate about a subject or you're well informed about a subject and you're going toe to toe with someone else about something that you're passionate about, automatically it's, oh, calm down, you're getting a bit aggressive. I hate the word aggressive being used in a sentence when it's about a Black woman or is relating to a Black woman. To me, I find that really offensive, and I feel like we as Black women are not allowed to be angry.
Yeah.
And even if we want to be angry, like I said, we should be allowed to be angry. Yeah. If we're passionate, it shouldn't be misconstrued or it shouldn't be seen as we're being angry in every circumstance.
Yeah.
I feel like we are really, our emotions are policed as well.
Yeah.
We have to be very aware of how we conduct ourselves in certain situations so that we're not labelled as the angry Black woman.
Yeah.
And I wish that stereotype would just go down the toilet, really.
I mean, with that stereotype, I'm very much aware of it when I interact with people of different races. So I definitely tone myself down for that reason. So if something happens that I need to address, I'll probably be more reluctant to address that situation because I don't want to be seen as an angry Black woman. I don't want to be seen as a troublemaker. So I definitely have had to tone myself down in order not to fulfill that stereotype.
Yeah, I agree with you because it is about toning down, and especially surroundings where you are. I mean, I went to a Christmas do and I was talking to just random people in the Christmas do, and I think actually one of the participants that was with the other people, they were sort of like, oh, don't talk to her, she's calmed down, you're a bit angry. And it was just because the music was loud. I was talking a bit more louder, so it came across to him that I was being aggressive, and actually we were just talking because it was loud and they just stereotyped me. So then that to me was I felt uncomfortable being there, and I shouldn't, because that's who I am. You know, it wasn't to do with him. We were just having a normal conversation. It was just that it was louder, and I think he thought that it was threatened unless someone's told him something, or that's how it was.
Do you have any other stereotypes?
Oh, okay. So another stereotype that I don't really like that is placed on black women is the sexual fetish thing.
Yes.
I don't like the fact that black females are often fetishized as being wild, freaky animals in the bedroom.
Yeah.
I mean, it's extremely offensive, and I don't even know where that even came from.
Yeah.
Where this idea that black women are, wild, crazed animals in bed.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel that when I'm on dating apps, I get men, especially men of other races, messaging me and saying, "Oh, are you dominant?" And I'm like, what gave you the idea that I'm dominant, I'm some kind of dominatrix? And I definitely think it's due to my race, because I don't think they message that to blonde, petite, blue-eyed women. So I think they have this idea that black women are sexually aggressive and are down for anything. And I think people could say that could go back to slavery days and like the Jezebel image and all that. But I think the modern reason why people believe that is the old music videos, twerking and all of that. So they believe that all black women are sexually available. And I think that's affected my dating life, because I've just had so many men message me things like that and have expectations that I'm in it to have sex with them, which is obviously not the case. So I really hate that stereotype. Have you ever had that, Natalie, where men have been sexually suggestive with you?
I have. I've asked people if I'm dominant, if I do certain things, because I've got a bigger, if I like sexual things. Do I massage in a certain way? Do I perform in a certain way? Because I'm bigger busted, what can I do with my breasts and things like that? And it's just inappropriate. That's not something that you ask someone, like, if you're talking, trying to get to know, because that's just like the sexual things. What about the down to earth things? I'm a person, I have feelings. You don't need to talk to me that. I don't have to talk to you about, your personal. And so I don't think that it should be reciprocated in that way. But then I think, maybe they're not getting it home or whatever. It's just an aggressive thing. And I think a lot of men, a lot of women, they want other things. They want to try different things. And because of the sexual innuendos or the sexual behaviour of black women are saying, that I feel that that's what they want to get, and that's what they want. They want the roughness and ready, but not everybody's like that. The only other thing as well I thought about a misrepresentative of black women, which I think like they get the misconception that a black angry woman is because growing up as a childhood, not me, but as a black female, as a mother, I think that some parents have had to be a bit there to be discipline their children. I mean, as black children, we are being hit another time. I know some parents don't hit and some parents do, but historically, we have been hit by our parents and got in trouble, and a lot of black women, especially mothers, they shout out of frustration. So I think that's where a lot of stereotypical comes from there, because they just think because our mother shouted at us, or our auntie shouted at us, or the grandmother shouted at us, we're automatically like that. And I think that's just a misconception, because you could be totally different to the person who's done it to you. Obviously, as a black mother, all they want to do is guidance and just tell their children they should be taught with respect and to be a better person. And, that's some of the harshness of a discipline of growing up in our culture. But, I'm not saying it doesn't happen in other culture, but I think that people misrepresent that as a positive thing, and they just think that, oh, you're angry because this, because you're that, and this is how you should be. But some people are softly spoken, some people are not, and some people are hard spoken only because of what they've been through or what they've grown up with. So I think people often look at that as like a misconception of a woman, a black woman is angry and aggressive, and it's just should be not perceived in that way, I don't think.
I want to piggyback off that whole black mother, the sort of matriarch of the family. And I think that is another stereotype that we need to let go of. A lot of black women are perceived to either come from single parent families or be in a single parent situation whereby they're the only parent providing. and then they have this matriarchal kind of identity placed on them, whereby they are the head of the family, which then, in a sense, it masculinizes. Is that the right word?
That's fine.
Masculinizes the woman as the head of the family. And I also think that, like, going back onto what you said, Ashley, whereby when you make a female masculine, you rob her of her feminine traits, and then you attribute her to a male, and therefore you treat her as such. So she doesn't then warrant protecting from you if you view her as a male. And I feel like that is another stereotype that really should be removed for society about Black women, that we are these powerhouses and we are on the same or equivalent to Black men. Because, like I said, it then puts us in a position whereby we are perceived that we don't need to be protected or looked after, or that we don't feel any pain.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. Would you say that there was any merit to the stereotypes or preconceived notions of what Black women are? So would you say there's any merit to it? That are we angrier than any other race? Are we more masculine? Are we more sexual?
I think there are tiny elements of truth in those stereotypes, but the problem is it's one thing that you could put those stereotypes on any race of woman and find it to be true. And the frustrating thing is that those stereotypes have then kind of cast upon all Black women, and all Black women are then labelled with those stereotypes rather than looking at each person individually. And I feel that as Black women, we don't have the privilege of being individuals. We are always going to be part of a group. We never have the privilege of being looked at as, I'm me, you are you, and you are you, and we are all three different people with three different mindsets from three different backgrounds, and have three different ideas about how our lives or how life should be. We are cooped together in one group, and we all have the same mindset, and we all behave the same way, and we all respond and react in the same way to certain situations. And that's what the problem is. I find that other races of people do have the privilege of being individuals and being able to identify as being individual.
I agree, and I think like some of the traits that are seen as negative that are on a Black woman, when they're on other races, they're seen as a positive. So an example is Latinas. I know Latina isn't a race, Latinx, it's not a race, it's a culture. But if we think about what what a Latin person is, you would think of a mixed person, someone with brown skin, is mix of Black, white, native. And when a Latina woman is angry or loud, so think like angry Jennifer Lopez or Cardi B, it's seen as cute, passionate. Oh, she's fiery, she's feisty. But when Black women are acting like that, it's ghetto, it's trashy. So I think the way that other races behave is seen as a positive, but on Black women, it's seen as a negative. So there's a great disparity between how we are treated.
Definitely, I agree.
Yeah. The only other thing, another stereotypical situation I've been in is when I'm going to an event where we've booked a table, or when I go to a club or for dinner or an event. I feel that some of the security, some of the greetings they give you is not always nice. I think they try to perceive you of being a certain type because of the behaviours of previous people. Like a couple of weeks ago, I went to a open rooftop party, and we first arrived at the door. Now the people in front of us, they were, oh hello, how are you, blah blah blah, and it was just like, okay. So when it was our turn to come in, now it was very like, have you got your tickets? Where are you? Have you been there? What's your table number? Where's your booking? It just wasn't very nice. And especially being in lockdown, and when we come out of it, it was just very horrible. And even the guy from the bouncer actually said to us, oh, your friends are still here. Your friends are here. What friends? We weren't expecting anybody. And I think they just try to assume because there's Black people on there already, they think that we're associating them. And I think that's just a poor passion. Do they do it to other races?
No.
Because I don't think they do. I think they just think that they see a group of Black women and they think, oh, they must be with them. And then when they come in, when they realise, when they scour around the security, they realise that actually they're not. And, I've been in places where you've booked your table and you've got your table and they allow you to have what you've ordered, and it's like they want proof, and it's like, I'm telling you, I've ordered it, I've booked it, I've shown you the proof, and sometimes it's just about the way, it's like they're kind of surprised that we've paid, and that, you know, we as black women, we work hard too, and we want to enjoy just like any other race. And I think that sometimes they look down on you, but then they're actually surprised, but they don't come and apologise. You know, we could go into a bar and spend the most expensive, you know, but they just still feel that as you walk in as a stereotypical type, as a black woman, that you can't afford it, you got the bare minimum, and you're here to behave a certain way. And when you don't, do they feel guilty? I don't think so, but it's just not a nice feeling. And that to me always feels like, why should I spend my money here? I work too hard. I want the respect and the same justice as anybody else. So yeah, it's things like that. I think, especially having a table booked at a dinner table, you pay your bill, and sometimes, you know, just the reception is just not very nice. The treatment, I personally think. Has anybody had those experiences?
Yeah, I mean, microaggressions is just a thing as a black person in general.
Yeah.
Not even as a black woman, but being black in general, you're going to get a load of microaggressions and people kind of projecting what they think a stereotype of you is onto you, whereby you're just there minding your own business. It's as simple as going to the shop, walking around doing shopping, and all of a sudden you realise that a worker is standing right next to you, and then move over to another corner of the shop, and that same worker's followed you to the next corner, and they're pretending that they're fixing the shelves or whatever it is that they're doing, but what they're doing is they're actually watching you, because in their mind they think that you've come there to steal. But it's amazing to me, because I think to myself, you don't know who I am, you don't know me, you don't know how much I've got in my bag. What makes you think that I've come into this establishment because I want to steal?
Exactly.
I haven't dressed in a way, and I don't even know how you can dress in a way that makes you
look like
appear like you want to steal. But I haven't come into the shop dressed shabby. I'm not sneaking around or acting in a way that's suspicious. But because I'm a black person, you automatically think that I'm coming into this shop to steal, and that's the problem. And they wouldn't do that to, you know, someone who didn't look like me, someone who was white, someone who was Asian. They wouldn't do that. But it's those microaggressions, like what you were saying, Natalie, whereby you go to an establishment, you've paid your money, you've paid your hard-earned money to go to this place, and the treatment you're receiving is substandard purely because of the colour of your skin.
I don't care what anybody says. You know, they say it's not because of that,
but it is.
It is, and you know, I think that's a disrespect, because you go in there to spend money in their shops, and at the end of the day, when you look at it, actually, I'm paying some of your wages here. Serve me, help me. I want to buy from your store. I don't want to steal from your store. What is wrong with asking for help? You know, there's no point walking in. I can walk the whole store and not find out what I want, but I shouldn't ask because I feel inferior. That's not right.
I completely understand what you're saying. Like, you can't even go shopping in peace as a black woman per se, as in we're talking about ourselves. You can't even go and shop in peace without being harassed purely because of the colour. I haven't even opened my mouth. I haven't even spoken to you. But because you've seen that I'm a black woman, you feel the need to follow me around.
Yeah.
It's a couple of years ago, actually, I bought some alcohol. And we had 2 bottles of alcohol, and the lady behind the till, I know they're trying to do their job, lady behind the till said, "Oh, can I see some ID, please?" So my friend showed ID. Then she said, can I see your ID? And if you've seen one ID, and we look similar in age, why do you have to ask for both IDs? And I don't know if they were thinking that, oh, we couldn't afford it, or 2 black girls thinking that we were too big for our boots because we were buying certain alcohol. It was just being ridiculous, because, I have to do my job. I said, but if you've seen one, you don't need to see both. And so we made a complaint. And they said, "I'm sorry, ma'am, you don't need to do that." But then it's like, I just think sometimes you have to point them out, because it's just a constant thing. And it was just like, it was just an inconvenience. We were standing there in a queue. It was a long queue already. It was a long wait. And you've seen one, why do you have to see both? I've never been in that situation where you have to see both. It was just like, we were treated like a pair of 16-year-olds buying our first alcohol, and we were 30 at the time.
That's real. Like, I've come off the train and I've had an old white lady quickly grab her purse, and I'm like, I don't want the pennies that in your purse from your pension. That is not of any interest to me, and it's just really offensive. I find it when I'm on the train, and especially when I'm near tourists, like European tourists. when I'm on the escalator, I never stand behind them. I stand a few steps down because they might think that I'm trying to get into their handbag. And I just don't think that white girls have that struggle where someone's going to think a petite little blonde girl is going to steal from them. But as a black woman, I feel like if I'm standing too close to a white person, they're going to think I'm trying to do something bad to them. So I deliberately stand way behind. I deliberately cross the road when I'm walking behind a white woman.
Yeah.
Because I don't want her to think, oh, a black woman's just going to come and do something bad to me. So yeah, I definitely changed my behaviour because of the stereotypes of black women.
But when I see people grabbing their bags, I grab my bag too. A couple of years ago, actually, my mum was in Nando's. We were in Nando's, and this girl was out with her boyfriend. So it was me and my brothers and my mum, and we were just sitting on the in Nando's at the table, just waiting for our food like anybody else. And her boyfriend was there with his partner, and she left her phone on the table. So when she came back, the boyfriend was like pointing at his phone, really pointing and saying, "Oh yeah, put it away," like, you know, to say, because there's black people, they're gonna steal it. So my mum took her phone out, and it was exactly the same phone. Why do you have to go to those extreme lengths to do that? You know, just because you think you can afford it and we can't, you know, we're gonna steal your phone. I don't want your phone. I've got my own. So you have to sometimes do that to put them in their place, because it's like, I don't want what you've got. I want what I've got. You know, especially being at the cash point, they look at you funny. I want to grab my bag too. I'm grabbing my bag too. I don't want my stuff stolen either. And you know, and I'm telling you now, a robber is never a stereotypical thing. They can be any race. And I've seen programs on telly about pickpocketers, and more than majority, I've never seen. Well, majority of the time, it's never a black person. I'm not saying there isn't any black people that do steal, but the most ones there are unlikely. So I don't know where people put this misconception that all black people steal, and you know, it's just not a good look.
Where do you think that these stereotypes come from?
I personally think it's to do with parents, grandparents, how they've brought up, how they've grown up, just maybe experiences from other people. But when black people first came to this country, they were very scared. I mean, I don't know all the issues about, you know, I know most of the black issues, but I don't know what the white people, to be fair, or other races were feeling at the time when black people were coming to the country. Through all this time where they've had all these races come into the country, they've sort of like, that's how they're self-taught, and what's been spoken to them and what's been told to them. Maybe it's experience from other people. Maybe they have had things stolen from them, and that historically has always left them to be that way and to think that way and to think that everybody's like that. And unfortunately, it's a sad society.
I think it's mostly from the media. You know, if a black person commits a crime, it's highlighted. His race or her race is highlighted a lot more. And I feel like people internalize that. Just like after 9/11, because it was highlighted that it was Muslims that were bombing, people became more afraid of Muslims on the tube or whatever. So I think that is internalized, and the people just think that all black people are like that on a subconscious level. So that's what I think.
I agree as well. I think the media has got a big part to play in the way that we perceive and think about people of different races. And you made a good point there with the whole situation that happened with 9/11, that there was an influx of Islamophobia and people reacting in fear whenever they see someone who would look like they would be Muslim with a rucksack on the train or the bus. How black people have had to deal with being racially profiled or being stereotyped as something that you're not. So yeah, the media definitely has a big part to play in it, and I think it's a lot to do with ignorance. If you are not in close proximity with people who are black, of course there's going to be a fear there, because you don't know how that community behaves and how those people move. It's stupid, it's ignorant, because anyone with an educated mind would take that as an opportunity to learn something, not approach it with fear.
I hate the stereotype that black people are unclean. There's just this stereotype that white people have sometimes, that we are dirtier than them. I've heard it a lot on the internet, And in the way that I've been treated, it's come out. Like when I was little, I remember, I think I was about 8 actually. My friends, they had lipstick, and one friend was white and another friend was Chinese. And they shared the lipstick with each other, but then they didn't want to share the lipstick with me. And I think it was because I was black. They just seemed very reluctant to share it with me at the age. And I didn't understand what it was, but I knew there was something behind it. And I think I told this story in this podcast before. I was hanging out at my Indian friend's house, and my other friends were there. There was loads of us, but I was the only black person. And somebody tracked mud in from the garden. And the Indian mother said, "Oh, did you do it?" pointing to me. So why me out of all of those girls? Because I'm the black person that's going to track mud in your house. And most recently, this is really stupid, but I was out eating with my friends and some other girls that I don't know, but they were her friends. There was this like smell, and it smelled like a stink bomb. Like a stink bomb had just gone off. And there was this white girl, and she was like, "What is that smell?" And then, "Did someone fart?" And then she kind of looking at me like I did it. I was like, "It doesn't smell like a fart. It smells like a stink bomb." And then my friend, who was white, she goes, "Oh, it's me. Sorry."
Oh my god!
Wow.
But it's just the way how she looking at me like I did it. So why am I the one that just got far? So sometimes I feel like people think that black people are just dirty or something. We just do dirty things for no reason.
Yeah.
God.
That's
terrible.
Yeah, this is another stereotype that I absolutely hate.
Another stereotype that I don't like is that they think that all black people can't swim.
Oh yeah.
That is absolutely ridiculous.
Yes.
I know there are quite a few black people that can't swim, but there are a lot of black people that can swim.
Yeah.
And this idea that black people don't know how to swim,
really
I really don't understand. I mean, the only reason I would say that a black girl probably wouldn't want to get in a pool and do a full length is because she doesn't want to mess up her hair.
Yeah.
It's not because she can't swim.
Yeah.
And I don't know where that even came from.
That reminds me. The stereotype that we're all bald. There's nothing wrong with being bald. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being bald-headed. But it is a stereotype that, because a lot of us will wear weaves, wigs, whatever, that under the weave or wig, we're just completely plain bald.
Yeah.
Under there. And I really hate that stereotype.
We don't have any hair.
Yeah. I hate that stereotype.
It's always asking them, "How short is your hair? Does it grow?" And all silly things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Of course it grows. It's just that everybody likes modifications, just like anybody else. Same way they dye their hair. I want a different hairstyle. I want to change my hairstyle.
No, our hair's different.
Yeah.
This whole... You can't compare our hair with theirs. Our hair is completely different.
Yeah.
And it takes a different type of maintenance.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. That's where the ignorance comes into it. Like, you don't understand something, because you don't understand it, either you're going to take the mickey of it out of it, or take the mickey meaning make fun, or be frightened of it.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous. Why, if you want to know something, why don't you just ask the question?
Exactly.
Especially with our food as well. Like, okay, I'm from African background. We have a lot of cuisines and dishes that are not fish and chips or spag bowl. We have a lot of different dishes that we eat. And I find it extremely offensive, ignorant and annoying when I'm eating my traditional food and someone is like, "Ugh, what's that? Ugh, I'm eating it." You're saying, "Ugh."
Yeah.
That's very disrespectful.
It is.
There's plenty of, like, I don't like jellied eels and pie and mash. I think that's disgusting. But if you're eating it, I'm not going to tell you, "Ugh."
Yeah. I'm not even going to be like, "What's that?" I'm just going to let you eat your food.
Thank you.
It's so weird.
You know, and a lot of people are trying our foods, you know, and it's the same thing with Turkish, Chinese, Asian, Japanese. So many different cuisines now. You know, Russian, Polish, it's all of that. It's just a disrespect. It's just about respecting people's food and culture, just because it's something that you're not used to, you know. And I think as well, they all sort of our races always contact you. "Oh yeah, because you're Ghanaian or you're eating your jollof rice." It's like a stereotypical thing. Or because you're Caribbean, you're eating your curry goat and your rice and peas. It's you know, it's all those sorts of things, those stereotypical that just puts you out of joint, because you're just like, this is my food, this is my culture, it's fine what I'm eating. You have your culture, you have your British dishes. I don't sit there going, "Oh, this is your pie and mash and your jellied eels." It's what you enjoy eating at the end of the day, and I think people should respect that. And if you're not used to it, if you're a meat and two veg person, which is nothing wrong with that, you know, that's how you are. That's how you've been brought up.
Yeah, I completely agree. But have you ever experienced, because we talked a lot about racism from outside of black people, have you ever experienced any stereotyping, preconceptions from within black people, so like intraracial stereotyping? So have you been stereotyped by other black women or black men or anything like that? Well, an example of this could be, I feel like within the black community, you always are expected to act a particular way to be considered black. So if you don't like certain things, you don't like certain music, you don't eat this, or you never watch that movie, or your hair is not like this, then people question your blackness. When I was growing up, I had my blackness questioned a lot because I didn't speak a lot of the London slang that other people spoke, or I liked pop music instead of hip hop or anything like that, and I've had people call me white and things like that. So I think even within our community, we have preconceived notions about what a black woman is supposed to be, and sometimes people try and bring you down if you don't meet up to that stereotype of blackness.
I think in regards to that, I would say more on a cultural thing. So not that there's a divide, but there is a difference between Africans and Caribbeans. And I feel that sometimes, not all the time, sometimes Africans may look down on Caribbean people and see them as lesser because maybe they're not as higher achievers as other African people. And then you've got some Caribbean as well, people that look down on Africans in a sense of saying, well, oh, you're from Africa, you don't, you know, you, I don't know, just negative things, or you eat funny food, or your English is funny, or you know your FOB, or all these kind of things. There's always that kind of underlying sort of things that happen within our own community. Yes, as a black woman, I have also experienced the same as, oh, well, you speak like a white person. I was like, well, okay, I didn't know that speaking well means I speak like a white person. Okay, or same with you, I don't really talk slang or have that kind of like a London vibe about me. But so I would sometimes feel that perhaps my blackness would be come into question because of where I grew up. But the only time I've ever really felt it is either, you know, in a situation where I'm with other Caribbean people, or where I've heard African people discussing about Caribbean people as well. So I mean, that's the only thing I could kind of
I always feel, because I'm a bit more, because I have a more SSE accent, but it also contributes to work and things, but I always feel that I was never part of the popular lot, or been seen, I've been ignored because I don't have those. I was never involved in London activity, or, you know, being part of the London culture, or just being ignored in that sense. It was seen that I was like unpopular, or just ignored, or not part of the culture, being cool and acting cool, and ask and being like, you know, knowing about Stratford and all these things in my own way, you know. Not that I want to be part of, not that I wanted to be part of all these gangs and stuff, but it was, well, I mean, no. I mean, you know, not that I want to be part of these gangs or anything, or be heavy, or to be in the, everybody wants to be in the popular lot, but it seems that because I wasn't that way, I didn't speak that way, I'm a bit more Cockney, and I lived this way, and I was a bit more introverted and not with the cool lot. It was like I was ignored. I was the girl that they didn't really want to be involved with.
So did you feel that you weren't black enough?
Sometimes I did. I wasn't black enough. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I just don't think there's a lot of space for black women to be different. We have to fit in a particular box, and we feel sometimes that it's very difficult to fit in with what mainstream society expects of us and what our own community expects from us, because you're either, you know, not black enough or too black to fit into mainstream. So it can be really difficult just balancing that out and being able to be yourself and be an individual, because I feel like other races are more allowed to be individuals, whilst I think if you're doing something different from the norm, you'll be regarded with suspicion if you're a black woman, definitely.
What do you think we need to do as black women to change these ideas, these perceptions, the stereotypes and misconceptions about us as black women?
Again, I think it starts with us, because if we within our own community have regulations about what it is to be black, then obviously outside are going to have those perceptions.
Yeah.
So I think as black people, I think it's really important for us to celebrate different types of blackness, because I felt for the longest time only a certain type of blackness was celebrated. If you looked in the media, music and all that is a certain type of blackness, but we could be a multitude of different things. So I think we as black people need to celebrate different things. So for example, I think in the black community we celebrate professions that are in sports and music a lot. Sports, music, drama, performance, but maybe we should celebrate other things as well, other areas in which we could succeed. So I think that would be a good start for us.
I think it comes down to behaviour as well. I think a lot of it turns down to behaviour as a black woman, how we represent. So many situations in work. Just think as a whole, some people just need to change their attitudes and behave a bit more appropriate to their profession.
So what would you say to someone who said, where white people are allowed to be bad people, they're allowed to have bad attitudes, and it doesn't reflect on the race, it just reflects on the individual. So why do black people have to change their behaviour and act better? What would you say to that?
I think that everybody should change their behaviour. I think everybody has the opportunity to do that. It's whether they want to and what's more acceptable to society to change their behaviour. But I think it also comes down to everybody respecting themselves, everybody respecting everybody's culture and seeing how different it is. I think it really does come down to everybody accepting and being as individual and being who they want to be. But I think everybody should be respectful to one another.
I personally think that you can't change a stereotype. So I think as black women, we should just adopt the I don't give a F attitude and be who you want to be, irregardless of what labels are put on you, and choose the battles that you want to fight. I think you should feel entitled or have the right to feel, if you feel that someone is racially profiling you or racially stereotyping you, you should call them out if you feel that's what you want to do. But I feel like we should, as black women, live our lives and try our best to fulfill and be happy within ourselves. Because I don't think there's much we can do to change the stereotypes that are put on us anyway. It sounds like a defeatist approach, but it's not. I feel that once you don't care about what someone else thinks about you, you then have a more positive experience. And like I say, yes, there will be times where you have to, call someone out on their nonsense, but if you go around being agitated and annoyed at every single little microaggression that happens to you, you have a miserable existence.
Definitely.
So I would just say, look, you know what, live your life and F everybody else, basically.
That's
how I feel about it. Because I'm so over. If I want to be angry about a situation, I will be angry about it. And if you want to call me angry black female, go ahead. I know who I am. And people who know me know who I am. And at the end of the day, that's just your opinion.
I agree. I definitely agree with that. I think it's too far gone to really change a lot of stereotypes. However, for myself, I try to be the best that I can be. I'm always going to be subconsciously aware that I'm being judged differently to other people. So, when I'm on the bus, I'm probably not going to be all loud. When, it's okay for white girls to be loud, but if a bunch of black girls are loud on the bus, they're being stereotypical. So I probably wouldn't feel comfortable to be really loud because I know that I'm going to be judged. And I know that's not fair, that I'd have to tone myself down or behave differently to other people. But I'm very aware of the reality of the situation. And sometimes our position is precarious and our safety, our well-being is dependent on how we behave. So if you are in the office and you are the angry black woman, I just think to survive in that environment, say if you're in the corporate world, I think you do need to play the game. And yeah, I understand where you say, you know, just be yourself. But I just feel like if you're in an environment where people are going to think, oh, you're being aggressive, maybe you should turn on the white tears. I would turn on the white tears.
See if it works.
Instead of being aggressive. So I think sometimes like you do have to adapt to the situation and change your behaviour accordingly as long as it's comfortable to you.
I agree.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's it. We're all gonna go for a swim now, aren't we? With our
well, you see,
eat chicken.
3 weeks floating to the top.
We're gonna eat some chicken because apparently all black people eat chicken. Where did that one come from?
I don't know.
All black people eat chicken.
Because everyone eats chicken.
That's what I don't even like chicken.
Especially,
I like lamb.
Especially in England, I think Asian people eat chicken more than black people.
Oh.
You look at all the shops, it's mostly Asian shops and Asian people.
I would just love to know where that stereotype came from that black people love chicken.
I don't know historically from it's like Colonel's, KFC, those recipes.
And what is wrong with liking chicken?
There's nothing wrong with liking
like,
chicken.
what is wrong with liking watermelon? It's watermelon.
It's just weird.
It's so weird. So with stereotypes like that, I just think just ignore it. There's nothing wrong with watermelon.
And there's nothing wrong with eating chicken. If you want to eat chicken, eat it.
Exactly.
And if you don't want, if you're at a pool and you don't want to get in because you don't want to mess up your hair that you paid 100 and whatever for, don't get in the pool.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Don't get in.
Yeah, definitely.
That's
yeah.
simple.
And if you, like Natalie said, if you go in the shop and a lady's clutching her bag because she thinks you're going to still clutch your bag in your tire and start staring at her like she's going to steal from you, give them a taste of their own medicine.
Yeah.
I do it all the time. I'll be like, put my bag underneath my arm, excuse me, social distancing, my bag. Make them feel uncomfortable.
I definitely agree with that.
Definitely. Cross the road if a white man walks too close to you. Oh, no, I feel safe.
Exactly.
Because it's true. You never know.
I'd rather do that rather than, especially people walking their dogs. You don't know if they're going to say it on you.
Yeah, and part of that is why I try not to get offended, because to be honest, I'm uncomfortable if a man is walking behind me.
Me too.
And that's because obviously nothing bad has happened to me like that, but obviously from the media and society, I think women are going to get attacked and raped when they walk home late at night, and that man might just be minding his business, never done anything bad in his life, but I've judged him and I'm cautious and looking around. So I guess I can't blame old white ladies who do that because they watch the news and they feel that way. So I just try not to take it on board too much, though I still get angry, like you said, at the security guards who follow you around in the shop. It's so annoying.
Well, I asked them, I said, excuse me, what are you doing? Why are you following me?
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, no. I was like, yes, you are. I was over there, you followed me. Why are you following me?
Yeah.
Call them out on it.
Yeah.
Ask them what they're doing. Why are you doing that? Pull out your phone and record them. Put them on Instagram. Do it.
Definitely.
But if that's what makes them feel better, safer.
Do it, I say.
Yeah,
do it. Expose everybody.
Yeah.
And maybe it will stop. Maybe it will stop.
Yeah.
When I've been walking home from somewhere and, you know, I've just to ignore them or to get past them, I just start talking to myself so they go away. It's just a coping mechanism. It sounds silly, but
it works.
It works, and you feel safer. Then you realise, they're walking past you, which is great. But I think it's a coping because as a woman, I think you have to do what you have to do just to survive.
I agree.
And anything can happen to you. If you start acting crazy, you're going to walk away. I even came to the point where one day I had my nails done and they were closing the shop, and the woman had put loads of cream on my foot, and I forgot I had my sandals, but then my feet were slippery in the shoe. I was walking down the street trying to walk to the car, but my feet were slippery. And this man even walked round me because I looked like I was crazy just walking back to the shop, back to the car, because my feet were slipping in my shoe. But I looked like a crazy woman walking down the street, and he even walked round me to avoid me. But it's only because my feet were slippery from having my nails done.
Your pedicure.
And I think and I think that just because they do it too, you do it too.
Yeah, I agree.
You protect yourself too.
Sometimes the stereotypes work for you. Like, I've had people who don't want to sit next to me on a bus because I'm a black woman. I'm like, thank God.
Isn't it?
I've had people...
Why does that not happen to me?
I've had people who were scared of me because I'm like, thank God.
I would give anything to have people be frightened of me when I get on the bus. Yeah. That thing happens to me too much. I am sitting on the bus and I'm a bigger woman, so I've got big thighs and a big bum. I need space. And there's seats all around. And you want to bring your bloody ass and sit right next to me and squash up on me. I remember, I would never forget this time I got on the bus. I sat down. I was like, okay, I'm sitting down. This lady got on. She goes, oh yeah, I think I'll sit next to you. You look quite comfortable. And I was just like, excuse me.
Do you think it is because you're bigger that people think, oh, she's nice, she's
like, she's gonna be warm,
motherly?
I think that honestly, I would give anything to have that when I get on the bus.
I get people avoiding me.
No, people want to sit next to me and then squash up next to me. Why? Oh my god, it's horrible.
Yeah, I've had like where I'm a free seat and then they will go over there not to sit next to me. And I'm happy about that. I've had people being cautious around me because I'm like, they think I'm going to get aggressive. Like some men are really cautious in person with me because they think I'm going to get angry or aggressive. I like that. Don't speak to me.
But actually, what are you going to do?
Don't speak to me.
You're tiny. What are you going to do?
Well, I don't know.
Or maybe chihuahuas are quite aggressive.
I've had men go, oh, you're scary.
Well, how?
Am I scary?
Actually, you're like 5 foot. How tall are you?
5'7",
and you're tiny.
But the other stereotypes is bad. I've even looked at other races, and then you get on the bus. I think a couple of it was last year. I got on the bus and this mixed race woman got on, and she brushed past me, and I was thinking, oh, excuse me. And then the bus journey started going, which is fine, and I thought fine. And then all this yelling and abuse just started coming out.
What, to you?
No, just genuinely. And I was just thinking,
who's she talking to?
What's going on? And then she was just like, yeah, Cheryl's gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. And it's like, everybody's looking at you, and because you're black, she's mixed race, obviously. All I can see is black, and she's just like, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna kill you, you know. I'm gonna kill you, you know. And all you're thinking is, I want to get off this bus. And I don't want anybody thinking that I know what she's talking about or who she's talking to. It's the same other thing. It's like, you know, when you ever got on the bus and it's like some other culture, like African women, and they're shouting to the rooftops with their language, and everybody's looking at you like you can understand what they're saying. And I hate that. And it's like, don't, because I'm black, don't look at me thinking, I don't know what she's talking about. And that's the worst thing for me. A couple of years ago, I was at home, and the ice cream van came along. Oh, great ice cream van. None of my own business. Anyway, so I get to the ice cream van, and this woman is shouting blue murder. I thought, what the hell is going on? And she was shouting and shouting and shouting, and she was like, you let the kids, you shouldn't have kids, blah, blah, all this. And I thought, sorry? And she goes, and she was just shouting. I thought, who's she talking to? There was quite a few people at the ice cream van. I thought, oh, maybe she's talking to someone else. I don't know who she was talking to. And she said, I'm talking to you. And I said, what are you talking about? She goes, your 2 kids. I said, what 2 kids? I don't have any children. And when I looked down, there was 2 small black children in front of me. And I felt so sorry for them, their poor ice cream. Their mother was in the car over the other side of the road. And this car came and they almost knocked them over. And she was shouting at me for these 2 kids. And I said to her, look, I don't know where you've got this misconception. These are not my children. They don't belong to me. And she goes, oh. And she went, oh. I said, they belong to her. And I felt so sorry because the mother finally came to the ice cream. Now, these were very small children. I'm telling you, the little boy was no more than 5 or 6. And there was another little boy who was about 3. And they wanted to get their ice cream. The mum had given them the money. And I felt so sorry because I said to the mother, these are your children, you shouldn't let them cross the road. And the ice cream van had a go at him. And she said, I think it's none of your business, and walked away. And the other woman was shouting at me, she didn't even apologise. And the one thing that upset me, more than anything, the 2 little boys didn't get their ice cream. And that's the problem with stereotypes. Yeah.
Thank you everyone for listening to our rant.
Yeah, that was a rant, wasn't it?
But yeah, it's life. It's annoying.
Yeah. Tune in next week, guys. Hi guys, thanks for listening to the CANA Girls podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show as much as we did. Be sure to look out for our next episode and make sure that you like, comment and subscribe. Also follow us on Instagram at the CANA Girls.